Welcome to Ocean Stories, a podcast hosted by me, Lydia Carey,
and me, Sarah Hursping. We may not be marine experts or even professional scuba divers, but we are curious about the ocean and ways to protect it.
Every week, we chat with conservationists, researchers, business owners, and anyone else with an ocean story to tell.
So whether you're a scientist or someone who's simply curious about the big blue, you're in the right spot. We can't save the seas alone,
but we can do it together. Welcome back, everybody, to Ocean Stories. Thank you for coming today.
welcome back.
Sarah and I have the giggles today.
Yeah, be ready.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm getting ready to go to Hawaii for the first time and I'm excited. And I'm excited that when I come back, you will be in San Diego.
It's true. Something fun about these episodes is it allows you to transport yourself somewhere else. Like now I'm thinking about Hawaii and I'm looking at my window and it snowed 4 inches last night. So yeah, I'm just thinking about other places. And in the episode, we also get to imaginarily travel to magical lands.
A lot of places, actually.
A lot of shark diving.
So how did this episode happen? I was on my train of exposure therapy. If you know one thing, I have done homemade self-exposure.
Homemade self-exposure. I mean, it makes sense. Homemade self-exposure therapy to sharks.
Exactly. I think I started when I was in 11th grade and I decided to write a research paper about sharks to watch shark documentaries and just expose myself to it. And I ended up writing a research paper about bull sharks and their ability to swim in salt water and in fresh water. Fun fact right over here. Guess what?
Filled with fun facts.
I was even more scared of sharks after that. But ever since I was like big on the exposure therapy, and then TikTok happened, and with TikTok, Scuba Dan happened, and Scuba Dan makes these crazy and fun TikTok videos of him swimming with literally any animal in the world. And he has different formats, but a lot of the time he gives the animals characters. And I realized one thing, first of all, someone told me years ago, I don't know if it's true or not, but they said, if you're scared of something, give it a name. Like if you're really scared of spiders and there's a spider in your house, just name it and you will be less scared of it. So that's what I'm always doing with sharks. And I'm always like, when I'm in the ocean, I'm like, oh yeah, that's just Joseph cruising by if he makes an appearance again. And then I'm not that scared.
Okay, yeah. And that's what he does in his videos.
Exactly. He's really like he's given the animal characters, which is so funny to watch, but also helped me a lot getting over my fear. And I don't know, just watching people interact with these animals and it being so peaceful. If you are scared of sharks, this is the way to get past it.
It's funny because in my head I'm like, okay, that's so smart. Like I should try that. What am I afraid of? And I'm like, I'm so afraid of rejection. Like, what should I name that? Barry, Elizabeth. Elizabeth Barry. Like just some random name that just represents my like horrible fear of rejection. Anyways.
Well, yeah, I guess that one is a bit different. Is also
I'll get back to you if it works.
Whoa, but it's so funny today. Okay, I saw this is so unrelated, but I have to say it. I saw 2 TikToks today that were really interesting. And one of them was this girl who said to overcome her fear of rejection, she was trying to put herself into a million places of rejection. And then she just like applied to the most random jobs or just like asked to sit with strangers on the streets to eat with them. And then at the end of the day, she had like this really sick life because she got through with half of it and wasn't actually rejected, but she did like insane shit because she wanted to be rejected. And I don't know, that was like, I watched it this morning. I don't even know what I took away from it. Maybe just go for it, I guess. But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I've seen videos like that. They walk up to a random person and they're like, what, do you want to go see a movie with me?
She applied for like a marketing job without a degree and got it and crazy stuff. I mean, maybe it's made up, who knows?
It just shows you don't be afraid. I'm like
Exactly.
I'm trying to take my own advice, but it's harder to say than it is to do.
Yeah, rejection is I definitely have a fear of rejection too, for sure. Yeah.
Sharks, rejection, all the normal fears.
Stingrays. Walter the Stingray.
You know who is a self-proclaimed person not afraid of anything? Our guest for today, Scuba Dan.
Scuba Dan.
Scuba Dan is, like Sarah said, a content creator online. He's an underwater explorer and videographer. He has 1.3 million followers on TikTok as of right now. So he's quite TikTok famous. He's from Middlesbrough in the UK, and he's a hoot and a half. So today we talked to him about how he got started on TikTok and sort of his aspirations for what he wants these shark videos to be. He was working as a dive instructor in all these different places, so we hear some of his funny experiences, funny stories about, traveling to far off lands to be a dive instructor. Sometimes it's sketchy and sometimes it was perfect. So that's what we talk about, what you're about to hear, and we hope you enjoy it.
Let's bring him on.
Hi! Welcome!
What's up, Scuba Dan?
We're
How are you
excited
doing?
to have you on.
Scuba Dan
Oh,
is
we're
in
doing
town.
great. I mean, I wish I had a beer in my hand like you, but it's 6 a.m. over here. But
Do you wanna-
doing
look,
great
listen,
though.
Indonesia
Working
beer.
with the time differences.
Bintang.
Yeah, tell us.
Bintang. Oh,
Where are you right now? We have some hints with the Indonesia and with the bintang, but
So,
tell us, where are you right now?
Let me just have a swig. So I'm in Bali.
cool.
In
Love.
in Ubud. It's a nice retreaty place. It's not near the ocean though, but sometimes you need a day off, don't you? So,
Do you live in Bali?
I wouldn't say I'll live anymore, but we spend it. We I don't live anywhere really. I just go around everywhere, but we spend a lot of time here.
Okay,
So,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Pretty much to answer your question, yes, sort of.
Traveling all around. How did you end up in Bali?
I used to live in Sulawesi. Do you know where that is?
No.
No, Americans have never been good at geography, have you?
Sorry.
It's an island in Indonesia, one of the biggest ones. So I got a job there, and I was.
Oh,
Do you know
is
it?
that the one with the orangutans?
So it's opposite. So that's Borneo. It's the one
Oh
opposite.
yeah. Close enough.
Orangutans. So I was living there because I was working for the WWF. Do you know them? Not the wrestling.
Yeah, the WWF.
Yes, not the
is
wrestling. The
Not the
World
wrestling.
Wildlife Fund.
There
Yeah.
you go. That's the one. Yeah, so I was living there, and then someone told me about Bali. I'd never heard of it, and they said it was very westernized. So we came, and basically we just fell in love with Bali, basically. So I use Bali as a base. So if I get like a project to do in Philippines or Thailand or wherever, I just go from Bali.
That's a good setup. I mean, you're already on that side of the planet. But
Yeah.
let's go all the way back. Where did you grow up?
All the way back. Woo.
To
So
the
I'm
beginning,
from.
the origin story.
Okay, let's go. So I'm from Middlesbrough.
That sounds like Edinburgh.
So it's about 3 hours from Edinburgh. If we're gonna get all geography, about 3 hours. Do I sound Scottish to you?
Yes,
Little
I
bit.
guess, right?
No,
No?
it's in Middlesbrough's in England. So I don't know if you know any big cities. Newcastle.
Rings a bell?
Heard of it. Yes. Rings a bell.
Does it hell? Does it hell? You actually know it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
I'll let you off.
Thank you. Okay. So you grew up in I already forgot the word.
Go on, say it with an English accent.
I forgot what it
Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough. So I grew up
Middlesbrough.
there, and then when I was, I think 19 or 20, I left England to become Scuba Dan. So I don't like I don't know if I should say I don't like England. I don't like the weather. And ever since I was a kid, I wanted to go on like a desert island. You ever seen Castaway?
Yeah.
So I always wanted to do something like that, go to a desert island. So then I thought, when the opportunity come to work in diving, I just thought, right, I'm going. So I got on an airplane, went, never looked back.
So what was the first place you went to?
Greece.
And
To
you
become
just Yeah, did you just
So,
like find this opportunity? Like, how did it
so,
work? Like, you were like, I need to
so
live my
my
castaway dream.
so my uncle Uncle Kev, everybody's got an Uncle Kevin. Um, he's a dive master. So if you don't know what a dive master is, it's like when you start working in diving, the main bit is a dive master. Anything above is an instructor. So I'm an instructor, better than the dive masters. So he was a dive master. He said, "Why don't you come and work for the dive industry, dive team?" I said, "Okay, then let's go and do it." So at the very beginning, I was what they call a tank boy. So I carry all the scuba tanks around for all the people. It was pretty hard actually. And then they would send me to a hotel, like an all-inclusive hotel. And then
Yeah.
I'd walk around the swimming pool and try and sell the dives. Even though not,
Oh,
yeah, so not everyone went diving. Some days it was just no, 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 no. So yeah, I was doing that for the first year, but I was on commission, and sometimes I made $10, $20. Sometimes I made nothing. So at
wow.
the
And
at the start, I was broke as.
did you learn how to dive then? Like, were you at least getting free diving lessons or something?
Yeah, so I did my first ever dive when I was 14 in the same place actually, which is just coincidence. And then I did my first two diving courses, which takes you to advanced. But they wouldn't let me take any people diving at the start because obviously I'm only new.
Yeah.
So then I had to work 7 months walking around the hotels,
Wow, rough.
and
That's
the
intense.
and then um, so 7 months it was Rhodes, if you know Greece, Rhodes Island. So after that season, I went back to England, and then I went to Cyprus to become a dive
Beautiful.
master,
Beautiful. So
and
that's where it really started.
that's where it started. The ball started rolling. I was teaching people, I was taking people diving, and then that went for another 7 months, and then I became an instructor in another island for the same company, and then yeah, that's where I became Scuba Dan as an instructor,
So you were in the Mediterranean for the first how many years?
which is the most boring place in the world.
I was going to ask about that. I've spent a lot of time swimming
Yeah,
around
we're
in the
big Mediterranean
Mediterranean.
fans.
Oh no way,
Well,
okay.
I've just never seen anything more than a fish, really, and a little tiny octopus, maybe. So I'm like, what do you look at when you take people diving in the Mediterranean?
So you've just said there, fish and octopus. Now the thing with Greece, that's all the bloody eat, fish and octopus. So
Mm.
there's barely any left. Like we would
Oh, we're
struggle.
fishing them.
Aww.
Yeah, so when I was working there, I was taking 30, 40 people diving a day. I'd start work at 10 a.m. and I'd get out the water at 5. So the full time I was underwater, no fish. So I was,
Wow.
yeah, so you don't know what to show them. So if you've got a bit of
You're
personality,
swimming around.
just show them yourself or do funny stuff, do flips or whatever.
Teach them little tricks.
Yeah, yeah, you have to. And then if you've seen like maybe like one fish, you have to overreact like, oh my God, guys, a fish.
That's rough.
It's just like a
Yeah.
tiny little Nemo. Are there any other
No
things? Are there
Nemos,
like,
there's no Nemos, there's no
yeah,
Nemos
true.
in Greece.
It's
So you
Quality.
decided to venture to a more exciting ocean environment.
Yeah. So after Greece, I thought, no, I've had enough boring Mediterranean. And then I seen a job offer on Facebook for Sulawesi. And so Sulawesi is a place in Indonesia. And then there was a job opening to go be there, a dive instructor. Now it was only, they were offering me $200 a month.
Wow.
okay.
Yeah. But I thought I need to get out. So I flew all the way there from England. I think it's like 19 hours. Now, at this point, I'd never been anywhere like that. So it's not like Bali, westernized. It's full on jungle. It's full on wooden shacks, 15 people in a house, no electricity, freezing water. Everybody gets showered in a bucket, all that. So we turned up and I was like, whoa.
Okay, but what did you do on that island? Was there dive tourism over there?
So it was my job. I had to find quite a good job, actually. I had to find like dive sites to take beginner divers because it was a brand new dive center. So I had to go and do like mapping, that we call it. So I had to map dive sites and find the best ones for the beginners. Actually, on one of my first ever ones, do you know what a dugong is?
Yeah. They're like,
You
they
actually
look like manatees, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
10 points, 10 points. Yeah, so it's bigger than a manatee, but they're absolutely huge. But didn't know what
Mm.
one. I didn't know what one was at the time, and then I was out doing some mapping, and I turned around, and this thing was just looking at me. I was like, "Okay, hell!" So I didn't know what it was. Shit myself.
Don't they call them the cows of the sea? Like, are dugongs as gentle as manatees?
Yeah, they just eat. That's all they do. Eat, 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 eat. Bit
Mm.
like yeah, cow. Bit like a cow.
So if you say that you did this mapping, do you do that alone or do you have a team at least that goes with you?
No, I was doing it. I was doing it alone. Yeah, which is not
That sounds
recommended, but I just did it anyway. Like I'm not really scared of anything.
that's one of my questions that I have written down. Are you ever scared?
You
Easier
you
than a
asked me that
dugong.
question. Yeah, I'm not scared of the Google. It just took me by surprise.
Okay, that's funny. So you just took your little boat out? Like how does that work? Because you can't be on the boat. Do you just anchor your boat and then you jump in?
So I was working for a team. It's called Bucky Dive, but because I was like the most, I had the most qualifications, so I was the instructor there. I don't know how much I should tell the story just in case I see it. Basically, she was a she was a rich Indonesian woman who liked diving, and then just thought, right, I'm going to make my own dive center. Not a clue how to run a dive center, not a clue how to dive. She used to jump in the water and just get people to put the gear on for her. She didn't know how to do it. So she'd be laid there in the water,
Oh.
and we put like the equipment on her. I'm just thinking, Christ, is this my boss? So this is the type of people I was working for. So I had to do everything myself. What I actually did is trained up some locals to help me, who couldn't even swim at the time, and then they became fantastic divers. Of course they did.
So
How
you
is the
ran
dive
the
center
entire
now?
place.
Yeah. How's it going with this venture?
So that was 6 years ago. So I don't really stay in touch with them, but I
Mm.
assume it's doing well. I assume so.
So that was a good job experience, it sounds like.
So it was, but obviously I wasn't getting paid any money in that. So I just thought back then I used to think where next, where next, where next, because I didn't have the money to go anywhere really. And then I think I spent my last $400. I'll say dollars like for the podcast, and we went to Bali. Just went
Oh,
to
that's
Bali.
where the Bali venture started.
We went to Bali, and I spent $60 on 1 week in accommodation that had just a bed on the floor and a fan on the ceiling, nothing else. And we loved it.
Well, I've seen a bunch of your videos, so I know that not all of all of your jobs were great all the time. Can you tell us the story about the one time you ended up on the stranded island, please?
So, I think it was after my first time in Sulawesi, I went back to England, and then I accepted a job in Cambodia over email. Who does that? Scuba Dan does that. So it was for like an adventure camp, but they wanted me to set up a dive center. So I thought I was arriving to a dive center. So I traveled 19 hours to traveled 19 hours to Cambodia, and then from Cambodia I had to go to an island where it was. Got to the island, nobody there to greet me. So I thought, right, okay, then I've got 3 big dive bags.
You just rock up
I'm
off the
just
boat. What's up, guys?
rock off the boat with 3 massive dive bags. Stood there, no one there. It's all right, okay then. So I dragged them all, quite strong, dragged them all to this treehouse. It was called Adventure Adam. Got there, and everyone was looking at me like I was stupid. So I was thinking, yeah, Scuba Dan, I'm here to do the diving. Is Adam there? Obviously, the owner. No one there. So it was just a Cambodian guy. He's like, no, don't know who you are. I said, right, okay then. And then he points to a room. He said, that must be your room. So I go up the treehouse, and it's just a wooden door. It opens all squeakily, and there's just a bed on the floor. That was it. No roof. Bed on the floor. No roof. So they expect me. No roof. They expect me to be dive instructor, dive center manager, take everyone diving. The diving didn't exist.
Was there anything on the island? Like, did you have dive tanks or any gear?
No.
No,
Just
they were just interested in diving, and they heard the name Scuba Dan, and they said, "Come on down."
so, and I went down. So, and then finally the owners came in. I think it was three guys, and I went downstairs and be like, "All right then, what's going on?" And they were like, "Oh, we thought you were going to set it up." And I was like, "What?" And they said, "We want you to work 3 months without getting paid." I was like, "Well, why would I do that? Why would I do
Some
it?"
people have ideas. Wait, so you never talked to them ever on the phone before or anything?
Not on the phone, only on emails. And I did some research, and people actually go over there to work for them. But when we actually got there, we found out that so they get people to work for 3 months, then get rid of them, then get another person to work for 3 months, and then get rid of them. Then you don't have to pay someone, then do you?
Bit of a scam operation.
Wow,
Well, it doesn't exist
scammy.
anymore, so I would say so.
Okay, what exactly is your job right now? You're traveling the entire world. Are you a dive instructor in all those different places, or are you a TikToker at this point? Like, how do you make your money nowadays?
the
What's the
the old
setup?
influencer question. So yeah, I am a dive instructor, but these days I just make videos for social media, which it's only blew up in the last 7 months. I've always been Scuba Dan.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
I've always made content, and I've always had like an Instagram. But Instagram only started pushing me videos when TikTok did. They're both linked, honestly. I don't care what they say. They're both linked. As soon as Instagram saw TikTok using Scuba Dan, how people should, Instagram started doing it. So right now, my Instagram's absolutely flying.
What has that been like for you?
So actually, in January, I was sat in a jacuzzi in Cabo San Lucas, and the guy next to me said, "Dan, you need to make TikTok." I said, "No, no, no, I don't like TikTok. All dancey, dancey. I'm not dancing. I'm not doing any of that." He said, "No, no." He said, "People will go crazy for the shark videos and the killer whale videos. Obviously, I've got content for years, haven't I? I've been Scuba Dan for 11 years." So I said, "Right, okay then." Now, here's a secret that the very first videos on my TikTok, it wasn't me uploading them. I got my friend to do it because I didn't want to do it. He puts one video on and it gets like 50 million views. So I
You're
said, right, okay.
kidding.
So I said, right, okay, then pass me that TikTok now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then with TikTok, you need to put personality in the video. So when I started doing that, it
Yeah.
just went, shoo.
Yeah, I
People
think
are
that's why yours are
fascinated.
so funny. Like, I love your voiceovers for the different animals. The dolphin. Wait, what is it called again? I
Joker.
keep forgetting. Oh,
Joker, the
yeah,
evil
the
dolphin.
the
So he's
evil
an actual,
dolphin.
he's an actual dolphin.
Like, I have so many questions about your TikToks, but I never
Go
can
on.
really tell, okay, what's the truth and what's happening. Like, one, I saw a video of you making signs about the animals. Do you remember
Yes.
that? Yeah, are those the actual signs or did you make that up?
Oh,
Is that
no,
what you
no,
actually do?
that's Barracuda. It's all true. Honestly, swear down, it's true.
What does that mean? What are the
Okay,
signs?
So this
we'll
one,
have to share this video out. It's so funny.
so this one's Barracuda because it's fish with stripes. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Tiger shark, tiger shark.
Are these
Big
signs
one.
to
Wait,
like talk to
tiger
other
shark?
divers? Are they to just for
So
just
other
sign
divers,
language?
other instructors. Obviously, you can't speak. So if I see another instructor, I'll be like, "Bro, there's a tiger shark over there, or there's a
Oh,
dolphin,
okay.
or there's an octopus, or there's a whale shark." It's all generic signs that you learn.
Underwater
Pretty
sign
That's
much,
so
language.
funny.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And are your TikToks always up to date? Or do you just have a lot of footage from back in the days and then you throw some in every now and then? Like,
No, all the ones on there right now are from this year. So I've been
all
everywhere.
over the place.
Oh, like honestly, I really
What's
do.
the best place in the world for diving then?
Socorro Islands in Mexico.
Really? In
Really?
Mexico?
You can't fly there. 30-hour ferry to these islands, and because it's so far, it's untouched by the rest of the world. So it's literally like going back in time to Jurassic Park. Honestly, it really is. It's madness. That's where the dolphin is.
Wow. Oh, that's where Joke is?
That's where it is. So these type of dolphins are called Socorro dolphins, and they mimic humans' behavior. So if I go upright in the water, the dolphins will do it as well. Or they've learned that scuba divers, you're not allowed to go so deep because you can die. And the
Mm-hmm.
dolphins, they'll lure you into like a false sense of security, right? And they make you go deep, so they go in front of you like that. Like, oh, look a dolphin, oh, look a dolphin. And why are you doing that? They're going down and down and down. Next
Is
thing
there
you know,
really an
Whoa.
evil one? Like, is one of
yeah,
them
joker,
actually
the one with all the scars on the face. And you know they get high on pufferfish.
like, has there ever been a moment where you were like, oh no, I've actually pushed it too far and I'm in
No,
danger?
not like, not me personally, but obviously I do my own shark trips, and you don't actually need any experience to come on my trips. And what I find is we spend an hour giving you a briefing, telling you what not to do. Most people are going to do it, because they don't think like me in the water. They think like a panicked person. So I'll be like, don't put your hand out to the shark. You're not Scuba Dan. You can't read. You can't redirect a shark. But they do try. Don't kick your legs. What they're doing, kicking the legs, stuff like that.
So, has there ever been a sketchy situation where someone was trying to redirect a shark and almost got a little nibble?
You'll see it on one of my videos. I do a video actually, and I say this is why you shouldn't stick your hands out. So the guy's not even looking, and he's waving his hands about, and the sandbar shark comes up, and at the last second he just turns away, and his hand's literally there.
Oh
And
my god.
if he kept wiggling it,
That's
You
crazy.
got lucky.
But it's interesting. So you say you've never been in a sketchy situation, but you're diving with all of these, pretty much any shark there's out there. Is there any kind of shark have you ever dove with a great white?
let's touch on this dove, right? So in England we say dived. I
Oh?
always have this conversation on every boat that I'm on. Americans say dove, but then isn't a dove a bird?
I assume so, that is correct.
This is
yes.
actually a huge topic in my life too, because I was an English teacher for a while there, and
No.
we have to teach in Europe they teach the Cambridge like English version of grammar, and so it's the
Oh,
same thing with drank, I think, right? Like drank, drunk,
so
like
drunk is when you're drunk.
Drink, drink, drunk.
I drinked. I don't know. There's a few
He's
different verbs where it's the same situation.
he's to that.
Tell me, have you ever dived with a great white shark?
I've been in the cage with one, yeah, and then I've seen
Is
one
that
in
scary? Where did you go in a
uh,
cage with one?
South Africa. So I was trying to get Steph in the water with sharks because honestly she's scared of her own shadow. So I thought, right, we need to go for the big one. So we get in the cage. And in South Africa, the water's really murky. You can't see nothing. And then this
Yeah, it sounds
big
so
shadow went
scary.
right under the cage. And we were like, that was a great white, that. So then when we got out, the great white came actually out the water and opened its mouth. I've got photos of it, so I can show you so you can post it.
Yeah, we'll
Oh
share
my
that for
god.
sure.
And it was probably a big boy, right? Like the South
About,
African great whites.
about 5 meters, yeah.
I'm always asking for these stories because I am a scaredy cat. Like, you would not get me into this cage for $1 billion.
Really?
Maybe $1 billion. I would dive with tiger sharks and all these things in very clear water if there was enough people around me that know what they're doing. But those
Yeah.
cages are this single most scary thing. Like, I could not imagine. I would rather go into space and jump with a parachute back down to Earth, I think.
Oh, I'm scared of space. I'm scared of space, actually. That freaks me out.
Really?
Space. Yeah.
I
Really
feel like
does.
there's always, it's either or. You're scared of space and like flying, or you're scared of the deep sea. Would you go into the deep sea with like one of these robots,
Not a
submarines?
chance. Not a chance.
Well, now we can say not a chance, but before.
Yeah, I mean before. Let's say, would you have done it 6 months ago? Like the
No, because obviously working in the ocean for 10 years, I don't know why people go so deep, because it's going to kill you. Like, we can go, like, as a recreational diver, we can go about 60 meters. So why people go beyond that is there's a place in Egypt called the Blue Hole. Have you heard of it? Most
heard of it.
dangerous dive sites in the world because everybody dies. People only do
They-
because they're not prepared for it. So this is how it is. There's a blue hole. In the middle of the blue hole is an arch, and the arch is 65 meters. Nobody really goes to that depth. If you do, you're stupid. So what people like to do is go down to the arch, go through the arch, which is 30 meters, and then go up to the top. Because it's so deep, you've already used most of your air here. And people don't realize that the length of the arch is 30
It's so
meters.
long.
So they run out of air, and there's nothing you
Mm.
can do, because even if you kick your legs and go all the way to the top, you're gonna die. If you stay there, you're gonna die. So that's, and you know what? There's gravestones around the site.
What? You're telling all
It's
these scary stories right now.
While we're on
seriously,
this
serious.
spooky, open, scary stories moment, before this podcast, we were talking about the Bermuda Triangle. And we were just talking about how when we were younger, the Bermuda Triangle was like painted to us as one of the biggest threats to humanity. And now that we're older, we're
Magical.
like, what's going on with it? So we know you've been there. So what was that like?
What even is it?
So it's just a channel where boats pass through. I mean, do you want the fairy tale story or the real one?
The real one.
It's just a channel
Unfiltered.
where boats pass through, and because the weather can change, they can get cyclones, hurricanes in seconds, and that's why boats disappear.
Oh,
So
okay. So it's just like
it's
a weather phenomenon.
yeah, it's just where it is in the world. Anything can happen. You can have all the weather seasons in an hour, and that's why boats go missing, basically.
How did you learn, or you're kind of like self-taught, like how did you learn how to read all these animal behaviors and be this incredibly comfortable in the water that you've never gotten into any sketchy situation, even though it looks like you're really good at storytelling? Because from your TikTok, I'm like, you're on the verge of death like 3 times a week pretty much, but it appears that
That's what
that's not actually the truth at all.
So I've always loved sharks since I was a kid, but I didn't actually see my first shark until I got to Indonesia after 4 years of diving. Because obviously I was diving in the Mediterranean, no sharks there whatsoever.
With the fish.
Um,
Oh, love to hear.
Sharks. Now, if you love something so much, I already knew lots of information about them. I'd seen all the videos. I'm very good with animals anyway. So then, where did I see my first big shark? I think Florida. So Florida's full of bull sharks. Tanner underwater, so he does some shark trips where he takes people in to see the bull sharks. So I just started doing that with Tanner, and then learned all the behaviors, and
Can you redirect any shark, or is it mostly tiger sharks?
mostly tiger sharks, because tiger sharks have the big head, big flat head that you can push. So in the Bahamas, there's loads of them. In the Bahamas, it's super clear. You can see the tiger shark. So it's tiger sharks that you mostly redirect because they move slowly along the bottom. The big head, you can push it away. I wouldn't try a
So,
bull shark because they just bite your hand off.
what do you do if a bull shark goes straight at you, or is it not that likely because they wouldn't swim right at you?
So people love to hate bull sharks, saying that they're the most aggressive. That's true in Australia, where the water's murky. So bull sharks' eyes are tiny. So if you do this with your hand, right, see that little circle, and try and look through it, that's a bull shark's eye. Now, if you do that,
Okay.
that's a tiger shark's eye.
Hmm.
So bull shark cannot see. At the best of days, can barely see. So then they don't really know what you are, and bull sharks go on movement. So if they're swimming in Australia in the murky water and they see a movement, they're going to go for it. And because they don't have any hands to say, oh, what's this? They're going to have a little nibble. Bull sharks never eat anyone, but bull sharks just nibble you and go away. But that nibble sometimes is your arm or something like
That
that.
is so interesting because, yeah, I heard a bunch of stories that bull sharks are actually the dangerous ones and they're the ones that attack because they want to attack and all those kind of crazy stories. So you say all of this is wrong.
And that's only ever said by people who've actually never actually been inside the water with them. Comment culture, I call it. They just, the Google, bull sharks aggressive, whatever Google says, that's gospel.
Is it true that bull sharks can swim in sweet and salt water? Like fresh water,
Yeah.
not sweet water.
Sweet water, sugary water.
In the sugary water and in the salt water.
And the sugary water, yeah, they can, yeah. So they swim in lakes, and in Africa, they eat baby hippos. There's a fact for you.
It shocks me when all
What?
these predators like get together and just fight each other.
Eat,
Like
eat each other, I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
it's bizarre.
It's mental. So yeah,
Yeah,
they
what?
swim in rivers. That's why you get them in Florida and stuff like that. But
Mm.
in clear water, totally fine. Not going to bother you. They will turn away last second because they can't see until they get here.
So my big question is, as a little scaredy cat over here, you said your fiance is scared of sharks and you put her into a freaking cage in South Africa. Did she work past her fears? Did you get her to work past her fears? Can anybody overcome their fears and fall in love with sharks and just not be scared of them anymore?
Yeah, because I used to be scared of sharks when I was a kid, as anyone.
Really?
So, and to be
That's
honest,
cool.
I've got her in the water with them a few times, but she wants to get out straight away. But the fact that she's got in,
Steps.
count. Yeah, baby steps. The thing is with me, what I want people to do, if they fear sharks, is get in the water with it and see it in its own environment. Then you'll see it's not some crazy man-eater that, the movies like you to think they are. As soon as you get in that environment, like anything, you'll see that, okay, then they're not even that bad.
It's kind of tangential, but I just watched this movie, War of the Planet of the Apes. And in the movie, the apes, have you seen it?
Yeah, oh God, what an awful film.
I thought it was actually, well, thoughts on the film aside, the monkeys are crazy in it. You know, they're so aggressive.
Is
And
it the
afterwards, I
new
was
one?
like,
Is it the
it's the
new one?
most recent one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it was 2017 or 2018, but in the movie, the apes are fighting in a war. And afterwards, I was like, I got to look up some facts about monkeys because I don't know, I just got inspired by the CGI monkeys. And I'm watching the videos and they're the most calm, chill animals. Like all the gorillas are just hanging out in the forest. So calm. Like these
I get your
animals in the
point. I get your
movies
point.
are
Yeah.
are portrayed like so wild. And then I see videos of them in the wild actually, and they're just chilling. They're hanging out, they're climbing the trees.
So right now, your job is mostly being a content creator. Is that true? I feel like we kind of sidetracked there halfway in with
Yeah.
the stories. Or are you still taking people diving? Can people go on the expeditions where you would please do not stick your hand out and get eaten by a shark? Like, what's the deal?
So right now, yeah, I'm a content creator, like ocean-based content creator. Since I got TikTok properly in January, I've had my own shark trips. I've had projects with Warner Brothers. I've got one on right now with them. TikTok flew me to the Caribbean to film some stuff.
What
Go
is
on.
like Warner Brothers? What do they do? What does that mean?
Warner,
You work with them?
Wa- Warner Bros. They wanted me to do a video for The Meg, with Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Ooh, that new movie.
The Meg 2, yeah. So they contacted me like, Dan, will you make us a video and all this? So I said, yeah. And then last week, actually, the new Aquaman, they've contacted me to make a video as well. So, woo!
That's
So
sick.
what kind of video are you making if they contact you? Are they saying, "Hey, can you just go diving with Mech 2, please?" Like, you just said that those movies are making people scared. So what's your take on that?
Hey, listen, if Warner Brothers come knocking, you're gonna do it, aren't you? But they wanted a jump scare video and the megalodon, which is the huge shark. They wanted Scuba Dan swimming, camera pans down, megalodon. Now the only thing is, they wanted me to incorporate footage that they sent me into one of my videos. Now these guys own Jaws, so I was expecting they were going to send me great white footage, but they sent me some crappy VFX thing. I made it work, but it was a bit of a nightmare.
Can we watch the video somewhere? I really want to see this.
It's not very good, this one, but it's on my Instagram or TikTok. So yeah, I'm picky with brand deals and stuff. Like people do ask me to do, watches or stuff like that, but it's got to fit. I'm true to myself, so it's got to fit within my content. I'm not going to start advertising home appliances in a video of a shark. And I get a lot
Just
of
take
them.
it diving.
Yeah, exactly. And I get a lot of crypto people. They offer me extortionate amounts of money, and I'm like, no, because it'll have the opposite effect. Like people will stop watching if all of a sudden I start advertising Bitcoin. I have this issue, so when I make videos, sometimes I'll put scary music on the video, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I put a voiceover on the shark where the shark's speaking. and sometimes I can't win. So if I put scary music on, it's oh, you're putting scary music on, scare people. If I put funny voices on, oh, you're making people love sharks when really. So
Yeah, I
people
think
like us, we can't win. We just got to keep do what you do.
yeah, it's a balance and it's like education. Sometimes Megalodon or whatever these movies are, that might be people's first and only interaction with seeing a shark on the screen. That's not great because then, we're thinking
Yeah.
kill all sharks. But then at the same time, it could be a way
Oh,
to sort of attract people into that world of your videos and education. So I think it's a balance, but definitely nobody jump in the
totally
water on a
agree.
dive tour and touch and try to redirect the sharks, okay? Not all of us are going to be good at it on our
Oh,
first
you
try.
can jump in, but just don't try and redirect a shark.
We want to show how crazy, strong, and smart and everything that they are, but then we also don't want everyone to think that, if you see a shark, it means kill it or it means be anti-shark because it's actually opposite of what we need happening. you know?
Yeah, totally agree. People just need to understand them a little bit more, and this is what I try and do in my videos. So I think I'm doing a good job at it. What do you think?
Sorry, I was muted. I think you're doing a great job at it, and I love that you use the voiceovers and give them personalities. I always feel like that really helps people understand what's going on.
Do you have an animal that was like your BFF or one where its personality like really sticks out to you? Like over time you're like, I miss that octopus Larry. I wish I could go see him again.
Good question. Good question. So some of the tiger sharks in the Bahamas, they're like that. So the oldest one is Emma. Huge. She would never ever do anything. So she's got a good personality, stuff like that. Joker, the evil dolphin, of course. Um,
Of course.
of course. Most octopuses will remember the person that they see. So if you go and see an octopus and play with it, it'll remember you the next time they go.
That's
That
always
is
Well,
insane to
everybody
me.
See,
is, right?
all these stories, I think it's so important that people realize how intelligent a bunch of those animals are, and I mean sharks as well. They're crazy intelligent in their own ways. They're not just ruthless predators that want to bite you. They just don't have arms. That's what
Because
a
they
thing
eat tiny
that
eyes.
No arms. What could they do?
already lost there.
Well, we have a
What was that?
question that we like to ask every person on the podcast, and that is, what is your? And I mean, it might be difficult to answer because of your experience as Scuba Dan, but it is, what
Go on.
is your favorite ocean memory, or what is that one story that you always think of that's like, wow, that was it for me. Like, I don't know if I can peak after that.
Probably the killer whales. Probably the killer whales. Because when one looks in your eye, the big, huge adult one looks in your eye, that's when you know, okay, I'm completely safe. He didn't do anything. He went on past. When they give you the all clear, I just thought, wow, that was the mint experience. I absolutely shit myself before before I jumped in.
Wow, we have to do that we have to start somewhere. We'll start with the sharks, or maybe with orcas.
Start with the
I was
sharks.
gonna say, Sarah, you're. I
Okay.
don't know. Let's take baby steps.
Where are you, Lydia? New York.
No, I'm in Virginia, outside of DC. No
Okay,
diving
yeah,
here,
cool.
just brown ocean. Well, I'm sure
No,
people do dive, but I don't know what they could see. You can't even see your
it'll be
hand in front of
freezing.
you.
Oh, great whites, 100%.
Awesome.
You said
Definitely.
there's like 3,000 great whites left on Earth in one of your videos. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's about 3,500. That's quite sad, isn't it? Quite surreal.
That is so surreal. That's really not that many. And then I see drone footage from my local beach, and there's like 20 cruising around, and I'm like, how does the
Man,
percentage doesn't add up here? Like, what's going on?
but
Um,
they have their own. They like their own places where they live, so they feel safe. So basically, in South Africa, there's basically none left.
really,
Yeah, the orcas have killed them. There's two orcas that keep eating the great whites. So in Cape Town, South Africa, none left.
that is so interesting. But that's kind of a recent phenomenon, right? Like the killer whales eating them.
Yeah, it's only I think the last 3 years, maybe 4 years.
Wow. That's really sad to think about. 3,500 is really not that much if you think about it.
They'll be extinct soon.
That is really sad. See, one more reason why we should protect the sharks and make sure that we'll keep them
Stop
as long
cutting
as
the
possible.
fins off. Stop cutting the fins off and throwing them in the water. What's that about? Why do people do that?
Yeah, that's insane. Why do people do that? Good question.
We gotta clear up their image a little bit. One
Yeah,
video at a time.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, well,
Scuba
thank
Dan's
you so
trying.
much. Yeah, I think you're also the constant exposure to sharks. Like, people follow you, they see that content every single day, and I feel like that just makes you more relaxed already because, I don't know, it's just exposure. A lot of people never really
Yeah.
see it. They watch like one National Geographic documentary a year, and then obviously it's scary and it's going to be a great white whatever hunting something and jumping out of the ocean, and it's
Yeah,
just
100%.
scary to
Every
look
time.
at it. So it helped me a lot following a lot of accounts, yours included, and just seeing all these gentle creatures and peaceful interactions. So thank you for your work, Scuba
Did you
Dan.
Did you see the one with Haley and Mum? Did you see that one?
I don't think so.
So it was a girl. She loved sharks. Never seen them. Super scared, and she brought a man with her to go in the water. Obviously, her man was absolutely crapping her pants. So I made a video of them getting in the water and they're seeing, and they literally, you can hear through the snorkel, and she's going, "Oh my God, a shark, a shark!" I'm like, "Yep, shark. Now you've seen one." So that's
Very
the type
cool.
of people. That's the type of people I want in the water, so they can see what sharks are like.
Yeah, hopefully inspire some
Well-
conservation too.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for coming onto our podcast and telling us all your crazy stories.
No
Go
problem.
check out Scuba Dan's videos.
Yeah, we'll definitely
They
link
are-
everything in the show notes.
Is there anything else you want to say before I stop recording?
Don't be scared of sharks.
Don't be scared of sharks. You heard it here first.
Takeaway message.
From Scuba Dan.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Ocean Stories. If you'd like to follow along on Instagram, you can find us at oceanstories_podcast for updates and behind the scenes.
We'll also be sharing our ocean adventures on YouTube at Ocean Stories Podcast. If you like this episode, please show your support by leaving a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Join us next Tuesday for more Ocean Stories.